Hey, what's up, YouTube? So last night, the LA Kings took on the Toronto Maple Leafs in a game that I was a bit concerned about because the Kings haven't been playing super great lately, and Toronto is a really good, young, up and coming team. The Kings had gone to overtime in three of their last four games, but didn't manage to win any of them. Meanwhile, Toronto is holding on to a playoff spot, so I was a bit worried about the game. The Kings seem to have trouble with young, fast skating, quick teams with a lot of talent, and you're not going to find much more talent in the NHL right now than Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner. So I was concerned, and sure enough, the Leafs got out to an early 1-0 lead in the first period. Later in the first period, they made it 2-0, and really for the first period and a half, two periods, they were really outplaying the Kings. I thought there was very little chance that the Kings were even going to get a point out of the matchup, much less could they win the game. But just as the third period started, Anze Kopitar scored his seventh goal of the season on the power play. Really needed Anze to start uh, putting the puck in the net. That's what we're paying him for. He's making a lot of money. He is a supreme talent in this league, and he needs to score goals. So that was great to see him score. And then about a minute later, somewhere around there, Tanner Pearson scored his 22nd goal of the year, and that tied the game at 2-2. The rest of the period was back and forth, and then they finally went to overtime. There are lots of chances in overtime for both teams. This 3-on-3 format that the NHL uses in overtime is very exciting. Um, there's lots of chances. This game was just like that. There were lots of chances both ways in overtime, but neither team could score. The game went to a shootout, and the first couple of skaters from each team failed to score, and then Kopitar scored a goal, and that ended up being the game winner as Jonathan Quick made the save on the final skater for Toronto, and the Kings pulled out a 3-2 shootout win. It was really good to get the 2 points because now the Kings are back in a playoff spot and they have a lot of home games here in March, so they really need to solidify that playoff position and lock themselves into the postseason. And this was a good step in that direction. The Kings take on Vancouver tomorrow night at Staples Center, a team that is chasing them in the standings, but really, in all likelihood, a team that they should be beating. So hopefully they'll be able to get 2 points there. But the bigger news of the day yesterday was off the ice as it relates to the Kings. Bob Miller, the play-by-play voice on TV of the Los Angeles Kings for the last 44 years, announced his retirement. Doesn't come as a huge complete shock because he's been having some health issues lately. He was only doing a limited schedule of games this year anyway. Um, but it's certainly not something we've been looking forward to. Kings fans love Bob Miller. Bob Miller loves the Kings, and he loves Kings fans. And it was very emotional to see him announce his retirement. You could see by the reaction of other Kings management and broadcasters that they were really upset about this. It's certainly not going to be an easy thing for the Kings to move on from Bob Miller. He has been their play by play voice for 44 years. He was elected into the Hockey Hall of Fame back in 2000, certainly a well deserved honor. In LA, he is as much of an iconic voice as Vin Scully was. And in fact, it's really been a sad year in LA for sports fans. First, we had Vin Scully retire last summer, and now we have Bob Miller retiring. Bob has announced that he's going to announce the last two games of the regular season for the Kings, the home game against Chicago on April 8th and the road game at Anaheim on April 9th. That's very similar to what Vince Scully did when he retired. He called the final homestand of the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium, and then he went up to San Francisco and called the final games of the regular season at the Giants. Giants fans gave him a wonderful ovation. I'm sure Ducks fans will give Bob Miller a terrific ovation as well. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what Kings fans do in that final home game against Chicago. It should be quite the night. I also hope that the Kings give Bob a really big send off, a really big retirement party. He certainly deserves it. It wouldn't surprise me if the Kings bring him in and give him something before the game, that last home game, probably a car or a wristwatch or something like that. They like to do that kind of thing. Um, I don't know if they'll find a way to retire a number or a jersey in Bob's honor, but they certainly should figure out something to do along those lines. He's been as much a part of the Kings family as any player has been, and he's been very important to the Kings and to Kings fans. So I'm hoping they find a way to honor him on a long-term basis as well. So that's the news in LA. That's what's going on with the Kings. Like I said, tomorrow they take on Vancouver. Hopefully they'll get the win there, and we'll keep pushing for the playoffs. Thanks for watching. Feel free to comment below if you like. Please like my videos and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Have a good day, guys.